Title 42 was created by President Trump to allow us to send back anyone coming to our border because of the concerns about COVID infection. It didn't matter if you came as an unaccompanied child. It didn't matter if you came as an asylum seeker, family, you name it. You were apprehended and you were sent back because of COVID concerns. One of the very first things that the Biden administration did is give an exemption for unaccompanied minors regarding Title 42. That spread like wildfire throughout Central America. Word is out that an unaccompanied child will not be sent back under Title 42. They will remain in the United States. As a result, they've had to build 6 temporary facilities. 2 more are being looked at. There's a Fox News report. I don't know how accurate it is. Apparently an email from Border Patrol officials indicating that there's a place in Texas, Donna, Texas. Pod 3A was designed to hold 80 people, and according to this email, there were 694 unaccompanied minors in that facility designed for 80, and there were 2 agents in charge of 694 children, an 867% increase over the capacity of Pod 3A. The numbers are stunning, but you have to ask yourself, what led to the rise of unaccompanied minors? Change in policy regarding Title 42. What else has led to a surge in people coming to our border? The Biden administration has done away with the Remain in Mexico policy. The Trump administration created a policy that if you're applying for asylum in the United States, you would have to stay in Mexico until your court date. Thousands of people were kept in Mexico under this policy. Tens of thousands of people. What happened? When word got out that you no longer are released in the United States, you have to stay in Mexico for years to await your court date, the flow of asylum seekers almost stopped. Because people are not going to pay $10,000, $20,000, $30,000 to go to Mexico for 4 or 5 years. They were paying to get to the United States, to be released, and they never show up. So it's time to take back the border, and the Secure and Protect Act would turn off the flow, in my view. So what do I do? Under the Flores court decision, if a family unit is apprehended at the border claiming asylum or any other situation, the minor children can only be held 20 days, which requires you to process the family in 20 days or break it up or release the whole family. Working with the Trump administration a couple of years ago, they told me that if you had 100 days to process families, then you could adjudicate the family unit. You would not have to let them go. You could hold them together in humane conditions, and they would be priority in terms of adjudication. Under the Democratic regime, families were routinely being released into the country because of the Flores decision put the government in a box. You have to release the children. What do you do with the mom and dad or other adults? This 100-day change would allow us to adjudicate the family as a unit and never require us to release them in the United States, where they seldom come back for their hearing. We have a quirk in our law. If you're a minor child from Mexico or Canada, we have the legal authority to send you back to Mexico or Canada. But if you're from a non-contiguous nation, like the Triangle countries, Guatemala, El Salvador, there's no authority for us to send the unaccompanied minor back. I changed that. The Secure and Protect Act allows us to send unaccompanied minors back to their home country, even if they're not from Canada or Mexico. The biggest change of all is to change the asylum standard that's being abused. Under the current law, if you show a credible fear, that's the initial screening standard, you are allowed to be processed, and have a court hearing on asylum with a million and a half backlog. It could take you years to get that hearing. The credible fear standard is too low, so we change it to increase the requirement to pass the screening test to where it's more likely than not you're going to be harmed. 80% of the people pass the credible fear standard, but when it comes to final adjudication, the final asylum standard, only 10%. 80% pass the screening test, 10% make it through the adjudication process. So what the Secure and Protect Act does, it changes the credible fear standard to make it a higher initial screening standard, which means that there'll be less people having to wait for a final determination. Most asylum seekers are not coming because of fear, but because of economic distress. The asylum standard has been completely abused.